Hello and welcome back to the Crafty Corner. I'm Jenna and I'm here to tell you about the new theme over at the Funkie Junkie Inspiration Avenue blog. This week our theme is Tag Team. We're going to be creating with all things tags. But here's the thing about tags. What are they made out of? What do you do with them? What do you put on with them? What do you create once you have made them? We're going to be discussing all of these things in today's video. If you'd like to see which materials I'm going to be using, go ahead and pause here. So it's looking like today's video is going to be in two parts. So this is part one, creating tags. Let's head over to the Crafty Corner. Today we're going to be talking about tags. Now, of course, we're pulling in tags from Ranger and Tim Holtz. The first two basic tags that I spend a lot of time creating with are these two. These are standard size tags, and we have one made out of mixed media and one made out of craft stock. More recently, we've also gotten this little, almost half-size tag. This is also mixed media. And these are some of the basic tags that I love to create with when I am working on mixed media projects or creating cards. And I also enjoy using tags for techniques. Sometimes you find a technique and you want to create it, but you can't remember what you did or why you did it. For example, this might be a sample technique tag that I've done. This was using distress texture paste and then spritzing distress spray stains over the top. As you can see, around here it's a little bit faded. Here, I dabbed off some of the color using a paper towel. But how would I remember all that? That's a lot to remember. So oftentimes I like to put all of my details for a technique on the back of the tag and then save the tag for future reference. Today we will be making some of our own technique tags, and we're going to be exploring the uses of tags in a variety of projects. Now, these are great sizes, they're good tags, but there are other types of tags that we could use in projects. For example, we could die cut a tag out of textured paper that we might have embossed. This can make a great foundational piece to become a focal point on a card. We also have some smaller tag sizes that can be found in several different die sets. We have got this set over here. This is the Sizzix Tim Holtz collector set, and as you can see, there's some really small and nice sized jewelry tags in here that could be great for mixed media projects. I also have one of the older Tim Holtz sets that has 3 different sizes of tags. This is just called tag. This is retired, but if you happen to have this, there are some other fun sized dies that you can create with and play with. So tags can be useful, and they can come in all shapes and sizes. These I actually die cut out of some of the Tim Holtz packaging off other products that I've acquired. So what do we do with tags? One of the things that I absolutely love using tags for are swatch cards. There are so many wonderful products out there, but sometimes I like to see how the colors of a product look before I use it. I've been making a small collection of swatch cards, and these have been for the Tim Holtz Distress glazes. And this shows me a nice selection of all of the colors. I have my swatch here, I have a stamp that I'd stamped on here, and then on the back it tells me exactly what I'm looking at. Here I've got some tattered rose, and I've been putting all of these little tags onto a jump ring. Whenever I want a quick reference, this is what I pull out, and then I can just go, oh, I'm looking for a really bright green. Which one is that? Oh, that's this one. That would be Twisted Citron. And then I know exactly what I am looking for. So let's go ahead and make a couple of swatch tags. I fell a little bit behind on these, so I've already got 2 die cut and ready to add some glaze to. The 2 glazes we'll be adding in this case are going to be Lumberjack Plaid and Lost Shadow. So to add that, I'm just taking some of my Distress Embossing ink, and this is in the dabber. I'm just going to take the dabber and we're going to scribble that down over the tag. Got that one there, and we'll do a second one here. Now, one question that comes up very frequently is, how do you know if you have enough of the embossing ink on your substrate? Well, easy answer. You pick this up and you tilt it, and if you have enough of the ink on here, you're going to notice that it has a bit of a shine to it. Let's see. Sometimes it's hard to see, and it's really hard to tell when the paper is super absorbent. So right now I'm guessing I probably don't have enough ink because I'm not getting that shine. So picking this back up, let's take a look. There we go. Now I can see that we've got the ink on there, and that's going to be allowing us to put our embossing powder onto the tag. Now I'm just going to pull in a piece of scrap paper so that we can put our glaze on. So let's go with Lost Shadow first. We'll just dump that on here. Good. So we have this, and I'll just set that down for the moment. We'll put our extra glaze back in here, and this is going to be a little sample tag that is just going to allow me to see colors at a glance. All right, now let's go in with some lumberjack plaid, unscrew that, and put this right on here. Good. I'm just brushing off a little bit of the extra. I like my tags to look nice and neat. And we'll take the extra, put that back in here. All right, very good. Now I'll be back in just a moment after I hit these with the Sizzix embossing gun. And here are our two tags with glaze. And these are just going to be our little sampler tags. So they dry off really quickly, so I'll just flip that over, and I've got my labels already here. Now we can go ahead and add them to our color swatch ring. So let's see here. That is going to go right here, just before Candied Apple and after Fired Brick. So this is a nice, easy way to contain all of your samples. These little rings are great. I got this one, I believe from Simon Says Stamp. And let's see. Lost Shadow is going to go over here. So now I've updated my ring. We've got our swatch cards. So tags, an easy way to create swatches so you can see all of your colors at a glance. And I also use this technique for other things. I do have a small ring of swatches for alcohol inks as well. All right, so moving on. There are more than just regular die cut tags. Most excitingly and recently, we got the die set framed tags. Now, it die cuts a tag, but it does more than that. If you add a little bit of archival ink, you get this nice border around your tag. So let's go ahead and pull in a piece of distressed mixed media paper, and we're going to die cut a tag. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit shorter. You know what? Let's go with a smaller one. That will look just as good. Okay. So as you can see, we've got our raised ridges, we've got our cutting edge, and then over here, this is where the archival ink is going to come in really useful. To get the ink from here onto there, we're going to be pulling in the Distress Brayer. And for ink today, we're going to be using some Villainous Potion. And this is the archival ink. I have done this before with oxides and it works pretty well, but I really like the vibrancy of the archival. So we're just going to get some ink onto our brayer, and we're just going to brayer that on. You can see the color come on here pretty quickly, so that's a good thing. Okay, make sure this is on good. Hopefully that's not going to come out too splotchy. All right, now I'm just going to take this over to my Vagabond. We're going to run it through and see what we get. Right, let's go ahead and take a look. Oh, that came out very nicely. So as you can see, we now have a bit of a debossed line in here, and it has the lovely archival ink embedded into the tag. And again, that color was Villainous Potion. So let's go ahead and set this tag aside for now. We might pull it back for another project in the second half of the video. Okay, moving right along, another thing that I love doing with tags is using some distress crayon. So for distress crayon, if we want to have some fun and get a little bit of a slip and slide effect going, we take some Collage medium and add that directly to our tag. This is another fun technique that I learned from Tim Holtz during one of the many fabulous Saturday live demos. So we're just going to take some Collage medium, and I'm just going to smush that around on my fingers, and we'll let that tag dry quickly. All right, just taking that, putting that on here. Now, the Collage medium is going to allow the distress crayon to move very easily on the tag, and that's going to give us a wonderful foundation for something else. So just smear this on with my fingers. You definitely could brush this on with a brush if you don't want to get glue on your fingers, but I find that this is the quickest way to get Collage medium where I want it, and I don't object to having a little bit of texture on there. All right, that's good. I'm just going to set that aside to dry, clean up my fingers, get a little bit of water, give the mat a good spritz, and glue be gone. While we are waiting for that to dry, I'm going to be pulling in another tag, and we're going to be taking a look at tags and rub-ons. One of the most important things that I found when using rub-ons is to have the Tim Holtz Idea-Ology rub-on tool. This metal tool is wonderful, and it pretty much ensures that you're going to get a nice smooth transfer every time you're using rub-ons. So this is my go-to for rub-ons. All right, next let's get another tag, and before we start rubbing stuff on, I kind of am in the mood to go with a blue-purple theme today. So let's see here. I think I want that. We'll go for a small tag. Now, to start this, I want to have a light foundation with some distress spray, because whatever gets trapped under the rub-on is going to remain intact. The rub-ons kind of act like a resist, and that is really, really cool. Now, the color that I'm looking for is shaded lilac, and I would also like a dash of Salvaged Patina. So we're going to put those colors down first, and then we'll add more color to the tag after we've got the rub-ons on. So first things first, spritz, and spray. One more spray. Oh. Perfect. And a little bit more water. That should be good. Now I'm just going to start drying this off. I'll go ahead and put this part on fast forward, and we'll see how our tag comes out. Now that we have our foundational background, let's go ahead and add some rub-ons. So I've got some little chunks right here, and I think we're just going to add them kind of randomly. We'll see how it goes. All right, let's put that down. I don't want to get anything stuck to the mat. Put that right across here. And we'll take the rub-on tool and we'll just start pushing that on. So I like to use the flat end to transfer the rub-on. I find that works best for me. And it's going to be okay if this doesn't perfectly transfer. I don't really want a smooth transfer. I'm just kind of going for some parts and pieces, and then we'll add more on the other parts of this tag. But some of these, I really want to get the whole thing transferred in one shot. So hopefully that's going to work out well. Okay, it's not bad. Let's see. I'm going to just lift that up and I'm told that the majority of this, it's all in the dismount. So we're supposed to kind of yank it off like a Band-Aid. There we go. Ooh, that was a bit too much of a yank, but that's okay. I might be able to salvage that. I really want that to go on here. Let's see, put that here. And if I just turn that a little bit, I can, in theory, rub the rest of that off. There we go. Okay, and we'll put the other little bits over here. See, I think I want that bug right there. I love how crisp and clean these rub-on pieces are. Those are going to look really good as part of the background. Oop, that bug tore. I really want the rest of that bug. Good. All right, now let's add the other little random bits, and that's going to be good. So I love how some of the words and numbers kind of broke off. It's going to give this a more randomy collage feel to it. That's going to be a good thing. All right, that looks good. Let's see. Just keep pushing that down, rubbing that out. This time I'm being a little bit more meticulous about pulling this off. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with this. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so now I just want to add a little bit of spray stain over the top. I'm also going to repair this little corner with a teeny bit of Collage medium. There we go. That looks good. All right, so there is a little bit of a halo around the lettering. If I turn this slightly on the side, you can see that there's just a little bit of space. So when we add another color over the top, the rub-on in theory is going to keep that sealed. So the original color underneath won't change. So I want to add a dash of brighter blue. And I want to go back in with the purple. Okay, ooh, that turned a bit, wasn't quite what I was looking for, but I might have to go back in with a deeper purple. That's okay. So let's go ahead and put this on fast forward, and we're going to play around with this a little bit and see what we get. Here is the tag with the rub-ons. That looks pretty neat, and if we look closely, we can still see some of the original color trapped underneath the edges of those outlines. All right, we're going to set this aside, and we're going to move back to the tag that we added the Collage medium to. That is all nice and dry now. Oh, I'm a little bit inky. Let's take care of that. Now we're going to be playing with some distress crayons. We're going to be using the distress crayons to create a background on a tag. So again, technique, tag, which can also later morph into a project. So again, I'm in a bit of a blue and purple themed mood. So we're just going to take some crayon. We're just going to scribble that on here. And I'm going to be pretty haphazard with this, no particular plan. I just want to get some color down. Okay. So I'm just kind of taking a little bit of everything and just putting it onto the tag. And with the Collage medium on here, we have a little bit more open time to move all of this wonderfully saturated pigment around. But right now, main thing is to just get down the color. And for colors, I used Evergreen Bough, Salty Ocean, Villainous Potion, Uncharted Mariner, Wilted Violet. We're going to add a small dash of Black Soot. I've also got Prize Ribbon and Chipped Sapphire. So we've got a nice variety of colors on here. Alright, and now I'm just going to take a sprayer and I'm just going to get a teeny tiny bit of water onto my fingers, and now I'm just going to smudge this out. Don't need a lot of water, and for the most part the crayon really wants to just move on its own, but some of the older crayons like Chipped Sapphire that I've had for quite a while, they need just a little bit of encouragement to start moving around again. But other things like Villainous Potion, Uncharted Mariner, they are still nice and creamy dreamy, so they're very easy to move on the tag. So now we've created an easy backdrop using distress crayons on a tag. And again, if I needed to remember this specific technique, I could always write all of my details on the back. But for the moment, I'm just going to be adding a little bit more color, and then we'll be moving on to something else. Okay. That's good. All right. We have a tag. This is just going to be a background for something, not sure what yet, but another use for a tag. And we'll probably continue to build on this later on. So we'll set that aside. Now, let's go ahead and pull in another tag. This one I'm going to use as a swatch card. So for the swatch card, one of the first things that I like to do is label what I am swatching out. In this case, we're going to be swatching the Distress watercolor pencils. So for these, I've just picked a handful of ones that would be nice for the swatch. I do have all three sets, but just for demo purposes, we're going to be just swatching a handful today. So just putting these down, quickly sorting these out into rainbow order. Otherwise, that's going to absolutely drive me nuts. Okay, so just quickly moving stuff around. There. I think I'm happy with this layout. So I'm just going to go ahead and swatch these on here. We'll go ahead and put this part on fast forward. All I'm going to be doing will be taking a pencil, adding some color on here, and then I'm going to take the water brush and drag the color out just a little bit, just so that we can see how this looks when it's wet. Just like that. All right, let's go ahead and put the rest of this on fast forward. And here is our swatch card for the Distress watercolor pencils. We chose 16 colors to swatch out, and this would be our tag. So tags can be useful for swatching things in groups, or as we saw earlier, in small singles. Next, we're going to do one more technique with a tag, and that is going to involve some collage paper. Now here I'm going to be pulling in the craft stock tag. That's going to look really good. And we're going to be using some of the new Tim Holtz collage paper, and this is palette. Absolutely love this stuff. It is very cool. So we're going to take a little bit of this and a little bit over here, and that is going to be our background. I'm also going to be pulling in an older collage paper, just so we can mix up the texture a little bit. Typeset. This is one of my absolute favorites. I believe this one has been retired, but still a good one. If you have it in your stash, use it. It is wonderful. Okay, so again, we're going to take some collage medium, and I'm going to put that right onto the tag, and we're going to smush that around with our fingers, and we will start applying the collage pieces. This is another way that I like to start a piece, and this can easily work its way into a focal point, or I can chop it up and use it on a card. I could chop it up and die cut it. There are multiple possibilities, which is really nice. So I'm just going to put this over the top of that. I'm going to have a bit of hangover, that's okay. I can always pull that off. Then a little bit more collage medium over the top. That will give me a nice foundation. Okay, and we'll take a little bit of this on the side. Let's see. Just smush that down. Yeah, just like that. I really want to get kind of grungy, and I want to have my layers overlapping each other. I really like that look. It makes a quick and easy background to work with. Okay, taking that, smushing some more of this down. As you can see, we can actually see a bit of the craft stock behind this, and I think that gives it a really neat look. All right, I'm going to peel this part off since we've got the overhang, and we'll stick that here, and then I'll break up that other piece and stick that in a few places as well. Good. Again, I'm just taking my finger and I'm mushing this all around and just trying to get a interesting pattern going. And I'll probably add a few more layers. I like seeing the different parts and pieces kind of, I don't know, just kind of shining through each other. The layers are kind of semi-transparent, not like really transparent, but it's neat seeing the build-up. I like that part. Okay, and we'll layer some more of the typeset over the top. That's stuck. I'm not lifting that up. Okay, that's all right. Let's take some of this. I can go here, and this is going to go through there. Good. A little bit more collage paper. Just smushing that down. Well, I'm really liking the way this backdrop is turning out. I am kind of surprised. This was kind of a haphazard idea, but sometimes when you don't have a plan, that's when the fun and the magic can start happening. Okay. So I will let this dry, and then later on we will kind of clean it up. Oh, actually, you know what? I think I can kind of tuck the rough edges behind this. That should work. Yeah, that is working just fine. So I'm just kind of pushing those extra pieces that are hanging off the edges, just pushing it behind the tag and sticking that down with a little bit of collage medium. There, much, much better. I like my tags to have clean edges. Good. So there we go. We have a collage tag. So this is going to wrap up part one of the two-part video segments. We have looked at some techniques with tags. We have looked at using tags as swatches. So let's pull back in the things that we have worked on. So today we have looked at tags and all the wonderful things that we can do with tags. We can create swatches. We can create layers for other projects. We can create backgrounds and technique tags. So this is just a small overview of all the wonderful things that we can do with tags. Now in part two, we're going to be assembling some of these tags into a project. So see you in video number 2. And until then, happy crafting.